believe we're 18. But can you go change it real quick? We're number 17. Cool, cool. We're going live in 5 minutes. Hello and happy Saturday from the Hill City. It's a conference clash between the Lynchburg Hornets as they play host to the Virginia Wesleyan Marlins, two teams that are receiving votes or ranked in the national poll. Joe Brennan joined alongside my good friend and partner Noel Ferry in which should be an extraordinarily exciting contest. Noel?
Yeah, Lynchburg looking to keep up a fantastic streak going so far, still undefeated on the season. And then you take a look at Virginia Wesleyan, just 2 polls ago ranked in the top 25 in the country. This is a Lynchburg team that thrives on offense, but basically just as good as defense as well.
Joe. The Hornets offense firing on all cylinders, multiple goals in their last 5 contests, and you can see the numbers right there. I mean, this is a Lynchburg team that is top 25 in the country for both goals scored and goals allowed this season, but they go against a Virginia Wesleyan squad that has played an excellent brand of ball through their first 11 games.
No, and that's definitely true. You take on a few ranked opponents earlier in the season. Virginia Wesleyan comes away with a win in one of those games. This is not a slouch matchup by any means, but it's definitely going to be something that Lynchburg, they're going to have to rely on that back line for sure, as this is a potent Virginia Wesleyan offense as well.
Without a doubt. And when we look more closely at the Lynchburg offense and what they've been able to do as of late, a big key cog in their offense has been the sophomore forward Sean DiLorenzo. 5 goals in the last 3 games. He's tied for third most in the conference with 6.
I mean, DiLorenzo comes into today just on a surge, really picked it up at this point in the season. Now gained a lot of confidence overall, so keep an eye on him tonight. I think he's going to make a splash.
Meanwhile, for the Marlins offense, it's Zach Bittler who really spearheads their attack with 6 goals and 3 assists this season. He's the team leader in points, and he leads them in both of those columns. The 2-time All-ODAC selection has picked up right where he left off last season.
It's something that they're going to need to lean on, those veteran guys, and against a team. Whenever you come into a game like this where you're facing off against an undefeated team away on the road, you rely on those veterans for sure.
And this is a very, very crucial game for the Marlins because last week you come in after a big-time victory over Christopher Newport, then ranked number 5 in the country. But since then, they've dropped their last 2 affairs, 0-2 to Washington and Lee and 0-1 to Randolph-Macon. 2 critical conference games that they just didn't play their best self.
No, and it was close matchups, and a 2-0 loss and a 1-0 loss, and that was enough immediately to bump them out of that top 25 ranking. But like you said earlier on, Joe, receiving votes and someone who's just on the outside looking in, they still got a shot.
Meanwhile, Lynchburg roaring through their first 11 games. It's the best start they've had since 2022. Lynchburg unbeaten through their first 11 games. No, I mean, what has been the biggest recipe to success for Lynchburg this year?
I think one of the things that I like to point out with this team is you see a pretty decently low number of saves compared to some of these other squads, and you might think, oh, well, maybe this Lynchburg team is really just not getting it done on that side of the ball, but that's just not the case, Joe. I mean, this back line for Lynchburg is not even letting guys get on that half of the field, and that's why that number is so low. The defense is stifling. They have never given up more than 2 goals in one match this season.
In over half their games this season, Lynchburg has allowed 2 or less shots. The defense has been excellent. And with that being said, let's take a look at the starting lineups tonight. First for the Lynchburg Hornets. It's more or less what we've seen all season. Thomas Viscuso gets the nod between the pipes, and Isaac Torres, Will Casey, Velasquez, and Rouse maintain that back line with Napier and Viscuso in the middle of the field. Wiley, Pask, Andres Romero, and Cruz in the front line. And just talk about the freshman element that we've seen with Lynchburg this season. You got 3 freshmen starting tonight.
And that's the thing. You see, you lose some guys last season, some key pieces, and then coming into this season, you always wonder who are going to be those new guys to step up, and sometimes that leads with a question mark. Can you find that chemistry early on to put a cohesive team together? And they have done more than just that.
That's exactly right, Noel. And with that, let's take a look at the Virginia Wesleyan Marlins starting 11 for tonight. Ben Hayes gets the nod at goalkeeper with Jamari Willis, Aaron Deans, Giovanni Ziza, and Miguel Mijango. At defense with Ryan McAdams, Waddell, Misha, Nevins, Wakefield in the midfield group, and then the striker, Zach Bittler, the man that we highlighted in the open. This is a squad that has so much talent on the offensive end. They can really get hot and score goals in a flurry.
And it's not even just those starters, Joe. You've seen a decent amount of rotation between a lot of guys on this Virginia Wesleyan squad. A lot of guys receiving starts throughout the season, just mixing things up, and that's definitely something that they're looking to do tonight as well.
Lynchburg 3-0 in conference play. The Marlins 1-2. They'll come into the Hive tonight and try and play upset and hand Lynchburg their first loss of the season. We'll step aside momentarily. We'll be right back for the ball game on FloSports. A beautiful night in the Hill City on the campus of the University of Lynchburg as the Hornets play host to the Marlins of Virginia Wesleyan. Joe Brennan joined alongside Noel Ferry in what should be one of the most competitive games that we've seen here on Schellenberger Field this season. The Mary Washington game was hands down far and away the most difficult opponent that the Lynchburg Hornets have seen on their home turf. This is a squad that loves to play great at home. Even though it's fall break and you don't have the rowdy student section, it's a familiar territory for you.
Yeah, and I question, Joe, with this Lynchburg team. You never quite know exactly what you're going to see. When you face off, you take a look at their schedule on the season. With some of the better opponents that they faced, it hasn't been that onslaught of goals as you saw against others, you know, the 9-0 games and games like that. It's been the lower scoring affairs, but Lynchburg has still been able to get it done.
Lynchburg has outscored opponents on their home turf this season 22-0. Lynchburg has yet to give up a goal here on Schellenberger Field. But you've got a Marlins offense that started the year off such an excellent foot. They've been shut out their last 2 games, looking to get things back in place today.
Yeah, it'll be a nice opportunity here potentially for everyone involved on Virginia Wesleyan, but I think it's also really going to come down to that, you know, that time of possession. Who's able to keep the ball and control midfield as well, because that's been something that Lynchburg hasn't necessarily. It's hard to find things to pinpoint, Joe, that this Lynchburg team has not done great. But if you want to look at anything, sometimes controlling the ball and getting it to go your way from the midfield has been something that Lynchburg has struggled with. But we'll see if they can fix that small kink tonight.
And this is something when we talk to the coaching staff about with Virginia Wesleyan about this matchup, saying, you know, how important do you stress needing to walk out of this contest with either a tie or a win after dropping your last 2? And he said, you know, it's really just a game-by-game thing. This is something that we take every game with the same level of seriousness, but there's always a little extra vinegar in this matchup when you factor in the rivalry history and the conference implications.
No, 100%, and especially not only just the conference implications, but the ranking implications in general. I mean, if you're Virginia Wesleyan and you drop this game, you are making it a heck of a lot harder for yourself to reach that top 25 once again.
With that, we're all set and squared away. The opening 45 moments away from getting started. They'll have an early throw-in on the far sideline. Reed Rouse dishes over for Casey. Looks way downfield. Last game we saw a little bit of an uncharacteristic start to the Lynchburg backline against Messiah. They gave up an early goal on a pass that went from Isaac Torres on the far sideline looking for Benjamin Velasquez in the middle of the field, and Messiah just took advantage of it and capitalized with an early goal. But Lynchburg did a great job responding, rounded off 5 unanswered goals, and that's really the Hornet squad that we've become accustomed to seeing this year, where it's not just you need one goal. I mean, they have a handful of players that can light it up and rack up those scores. That's exactly what we saw, whereas a year ago, this offense did not nearly have the same amount of explosion to them. They had 32 goals last season when everything was all said and done. They've got 39 already and still so much soccer left to be played.
I really do think that really speaks on coaching, Joe. I mean, to take a squad with this many new faces, you know, Coach Yeager is able to really create almost something out of nothing here, and that's not speaking to these guys, you know, discredit, but I mean, absolutely phenomenal here. But something to keep in mind for today's matchup, Joe, a lot of the damage that Lynchburg is able to do on offense does come later on in the contest. So it's a team that, you know, likes to hold the line, at least for a bit, and that's the trend that we've seen, but then they really get it going later on.
Early set piece. Velasquez centers it into the box. Jumped up and secured by Haynes. This is a very veteran and experienced Virginia Wesleyan squad. They return 7, count them 7, all-conference selections from a season ago. And that kind of experience can really be beneficial when we get to this part of the season when you're really getting into the heat of conference play. Slow roller towards the far end line. And a corner kick awarded to the Marlins.
Yeah, and, obviously, Joe, this is a Hornets squad that very, very good differential on corner kicks on the season. Good at keeping them down for the opponents and getting a lot of them themselves.
Corner will be taken by Ziza, the sophomore defender out of Denville, New Jersey. Near side post, popped up off a noggin on Wakefield, but out of play. And a goal kick now for Viscuso.
I think that one came in just a little bit too much more on a line drive than Virginia Wesleyan would have wanted. That header out of dismay.
Velasquez near side. Torres working against Wills. Taken away. Torres ripped him to the deck. And Mejia earns a penalty deep in Lynchburg territory.
Yeah, another opportunity here early on for the Marlins. I mean, they're keeping the pressure applied. We've seen the ball be pretty much on nothing but this side of the field thus far. Going to have to rely on some good defense here.
It'll be Ziza once again. Viscuso on a beeline, wraps it up, and here's where he likes to push. Way downfield looking for Chris Wiley. 2-on-1, a header back to Haynes. And the keeper cleanly secures it. But that flips field position. Lynchburg trots the other direction. Now the Marlins will try and clear. They'll start with the far side of the field. Quick reversal. It's a Lynchburg front line that loves to apply pressure. These are two teams that play a very similar style of defense when you just look at how their front line likes to play.
And we see that 4-2-4 formation.
Meanwhile, the Marlins like to run 5 middies. You can expect for them to potentially be some changes mid-game with what these coaches are seeing. These are two extremely talented coaches that are quite familiar with one another. Coach Yeager of the Hornets, very familiar with the Virginia Wesleyan program as a whole, as being an alumni for Virginia Wesleyan soccer, along with an assistant coach for a brief stint out in Virginia Beach. We've also got Yeager's daughter. He's a member of the Virginia Wesleyan women's soccer team.
Yeah, we talked about the rivalry implications, but it goes deeper than that, Joe. We've got family ties involved.
Oh, the Napier brothers playing here tonight against one another. Keaton Napier, the center back for the Lynchburg Hornets, gets to play against his brother Cowan, who's a freshman, just graduated right down the road from EC Glass. Pass goes down hard. I'm sure you got aunts and uncles and grandma and grandpa. Everybody's tuned in for this one. This is one you certainly don't miss, and I'm sure they're appreciating it. Bouncer off one hop. Viscuso corrals.
That was a great line in from Wills, but just no Marlins there to take advantage of.
Downfield looking for Cruz. Freshman can't get there in time. Haynes reels it in. Isaac Cruz, someone that's really come along in the last couple of games. Cruz had a relatively quiet start to begin the season, but he has heated up in a hurry. And it says something when you got a freshman in that starting lineup. We've talked about Viscuso and we talked about Andres Romero, but Cruz, especially here at home, he has played phenomenally well. 2 multi-score games against Randolph and Avon. He's got 4 goals on the season. Virginia Wesleyan just outside the 18. Knocked away by Torres. Laid beautifully out in front for Pask. Pask stops on a dime, cuts back, loses his footing, tripped up by Wills.
Yeah, the Marlins not too happy with that call right there. But, Joe, I want to point out, Casey on that little stint right there for the Hornets, I mean, was all over the place on that. Absolutely relentless back there.
Another Hornet goes down hard. It's Andres Romero grabbing at his ankle.
Yeah, immediately went down. and looks like he's able to get up under his own power.
That's always a good sign. Andres Romero did miss a little bit of time last week. Nevertheless, back in the starting lineup and playing well as of late. Had a crucial play against Messiah in Lynchburg's most recent affair this past Wednesday. Just at the end of the first half with 5 minutes to go, carved his way inside of the box, drew a penalty which Benjamin Velasquez then capitalized on the PK to equalize that contest. Torres with a little give and go, gets it back in open space, but a little too much on the touch. Nevertheless, Keaton Napier gets it right back. Now trying to corkscrew his way inside. Wills rips it away. And another Marlins turnover. Now Pask looks to slow things down. Surveys, and Lynchburg will build it from the back. Andres Romero over for Rouse. And Lynchburg will reverse the field.
We saw there once again maybe a little bit of struggle there in the midfield, just getting the right touch and the right pass immediately off of it for the Hornets.
Far side Rouse, right at the Lynchburg script. Low ball over for Napier. A beautiful slide tackle. McAdams was chasing it down, but Napier keeps possession with the Hornets. Seems like the Marlins are really trying to force Lynchburg down the sidelines. It's a Hornet squad this season that has made a lot of their money operating through the middle. A collision, but no whistle. Pask takes possession, lays it out in front for Cruz. And the clock will stop as we check on Mihango.
Yeah, surprise no call there on that one, but regardless, Lynchburg is still able to get away with an opportunity there, but that's another thing, you know, you have a guy out in open space with a potential opportunity in front of him, and it's just off the line. So far, the Marlins have been all over this red-hot Hornets offense. And already here, we're going to see another set piece for the Hornets, who obviously have accumulated so many throughout the season, but haven't really been able to convert that many of them into big plays.
Pask, far side, batted around, still in the air. You know, we saw last year Lynchburg was extremely successful on those corners when you had a big guy like Zach Whelan that could jump up almost every other time and punch it in off the top of the head. We've seen Lynchburg look for a lot of William Casey, Benjamin Velasquez, and Keaton Napier in those kind of situations. But you said it. It's a Lynchburg team that has really found most of their offensive success in transition so far this year.
Yeah, and a lot of those coming from pretty decently long shots, too. I think that's something that Lynchburg could look at tonight is getting, you know, more consistency in those passes and then finishing from shorter distances.
Viscuso keeps it up. Andres Romero does the same. McAdams now with possession. Andres Romero takes it right back on the far sideline, gets tangled up, and Virginia Wesleyan will take over at midfield.
Yeah, Will's a guy for the Marlins who I think you need to keep an eye on tonight. He's been all over the place, been very disruptive on defense as well. And this one going to go the way of the Hornets. Trying to get reset now, as thus far it really only been 2 big trips down to the other side of the field for Lynchburg. But this is another one of those things we mentioned earlier on. Sometimes against these, you know, these opponents that have had some success this season. Obviously, the Marlins top 25 ranked earlier on. Lynchburg, it's been closer matches.
Long ball downfield, 2-on-2. Marlins back line. Not afraid to dish it back to Haynes. We've seen that a handful of times. It seems like that's their go-to strategy to try and extinguish these transition attempts. No. Pask with a nice touch. Torres tried to lead him with a through ball. Got denied, earns possession right back. Pask will reverse. Reed Rouse with a handle. Matthew Viscuso wants to go. Nice ball, but he can't hook up with Pask. He'll send the defender into the turf, a physical play. This is a Lynchburg front line that certainly likes to play physical. You see guys like Wiley and Pask not afraid to get dirty.
Yeah, Wiley taking out Polchinski there, who went down, who's actually, we've got a Marlin coming away limping just a bit here, but they'll take a look at him as well.
Yeah, it seemed like he didn't agree with the call, having a word with the official on his way back up the field. Nevertheless, we continue play. Ball over for Andres Romero. The Ferrari headed inside. Ball just offline for Cruz. Waddell has it taken away by Rouse. Andres Romero carving his way inside. The centering feed is knocked away and sent out of trouble. Velasquez on his horse will bring it in.
Another thing to keep an eye on tonight, Joe. So far, Haynes, on a lot of his clearances and trying to create something after he's been able to corral the ball, he's been a bit off target thus far tonight.
Just something to keep an eye on. Here's a beautiful ball laid out in front for Bittler. Bittler just wide right. A brilliant chance for the Marlins right there. That's the best look we've seen from either squad tonight. Just couldn't punch it through in a narrow window.
Yeah, Viscuso puts his hands up on that one at his defense. He says, how can someone get that far ahead in front like that? And Lynchburg gets a break there.
That's a guy you can't lose track of. 6 goals scored already this season and counting. He's really found another level to his game. And something that this coaching staff has really preached. It's all about the hard work, day in and day out, the preparation, the film study, everything involved. As Cruz goes tumbling. And he has certainly found another gear this season.
Obviously, a rivalry game like this, you keep an eye on it. It's looking like it's not necessarily tempers flaring, Joe, but a chippy matchup thus far. We've seen a couple collisions and a little bit of extracurricular on the side, but again, with a game with as much meaning as this, you come to expect that.
And we go back to talking about Bittler. I mean, it was that one touch that was really got him in a great spot, and that's something that he's really worked on this year. Centering feed, knocked away. Pask has possession momentarily, but loses the handle, and a goal kick now for Haynes.
Yeah, Pask on that one, just barely couldn't corral it and keep it in front of him, and it rolls off the back line. Decent opportunity there for Lynchburg. They're piling up, and when you're able to get those consistently, and like we said, they're definitely relying on Haynes a lot to be the one to corral these, bad things could potentially come for the Marlins.
Haynes will send it downfield. Nice ball. Still up in the air. Finally finds the ground. Last touched by Viscuso. Be thrown in by Ziza. Quick one over for McAdams. Reed Rouse with a nice poke. Bittler out wide. Ziza right back to him. Bittler stopped by Viscuso, the veteran keeper, with a brilliant save.
Yeah, another time he's putting his hands up to his defense, but that time he is not scared to go out and get into the action on that when he takes matters into his own hands after another Marlin just comes streaking past his back line.
You mentioned it. Lynchburg might not have the most saves. When they need him, Viscuso, a really reliable guy to have between the pipes. A big reason why Lynchburg's tallied 6 shutouts so far through the season and has yet to allow a multi-goal game since their first week of the season.
Yeah, a combined clean sheet earlier on this season. This is, like you mentioned, Joe, not just the back line, but the keepers as well.
It's a Lynchburg defense that returned everybody from a year ago. Built even more chemistry in the offseason as they played for the Lynchburg Football Club. Keaton Napier, Benjamin Velasquez, Reed Rouse, Thomas Viscuso, Will Casey played for a little bit. Andres Romero down once again at midfield. This time slow to get up.
Yeah, same spot as last time. And they're definitely taking a look at him now. But regardless, we're going to see things get set up here for the Marlins.
Looks like they're going to call the athletic training staff over and likely bring a substitute in. We'll step aside momentarily. We'll be right back on FloSports. And we welcome you back into Schellenberger Field. Andres Romero exiting the contest. Chris Bovo will take his spot in the lineup. Those two have traded time in the front line so far this season. They both had an excellent year. Hopefully everything's okay with Andres Romero. Able to get to the sideline on his own power. Being checked out currently. We'll keep you posted when we have updates. Sky high ball towards the 18. Foot race won by Bovo. Sent back to Torres. Torres now will retreat. You get to see a little bit of the pressure applied by Virginia Wesleyan. They already got one turnover deep in Lynchburg territory. And so far this season, when teams have applied pressure to Lynchburg's backline, it's been better more so than not in a lot of cases. Excellent tackle taken away by the Marlins. We saw a squad like Virginia Wesleyan that came into Schellenberger Field, applied no pressure whatsoever. They didn't step up past midfield when Lynchburg was trying to clear it, and that did not bode well for them. Meanwhile, you've seen squads like Messiah score on opportunities such as that as Torres has a collision with Wills, 2-on-2 crime.
Yeah, and actually they're going to put this one against the Hornets, Joe.
Yeah, they're going to call that one a charge. Lynchburg believes it should have been a blocking foul.
You could say that. we could go that way.
We could translate it.
No, yeah, but Joe, I think something that we've seen so far today has been the quality of shots that the Marlins have been putting out. That's been something they've been fantastic at thus far. Is good shot efficiency that is, and frankly, they have had 2 golden opportunities squandered by the Hornets.
One out in front for Bovo. Couldn't get there in time. It's picked up by Mihango. He loses control. It'll be a goal kick nevertheless for Haynes. Now, as we're talking about translating to sports, you've got a handful of multi-sport athletes in this contest. You have Kapitanov, the backup goalie for the Hornets, a part of the Lynchburg men's volleyball program. Jamari Wills, number 2 in blue for the Marlins, also on the Marlins volleyball squad. You even had Colby Wilson last year, played for Lynchburg men's volleyball. So these guys are quite familiar with one another.
You know, you might look at that and say, oh, volleyball, what does that really have to do with soccer? Because you're doing everything with the hands in volleyball, Joe. Yeah. But that elevation and keenness and eye for the ball, being a ball hawk, that's huge for a keeper.
Well, Coach Kohler talked a little about the culture that they have at Virginia Wesleyan, and competitiveness is a big thing that they like to focus on. And Jamari's someone that can really embody that when you've got someone that is competing 24/7. Ball inside, just under the right foot of Bovo. Wills with a clearance way downfield. Nice header from Benji to put it back on this side of the turf. Escuso with an errant pass wide left, looking for Cruz. Mihango will trot up and put us back in play.
This back line for Lynchburg has been really great at squandering those deep shots by the Marlins, getting the ball right back into their possession.
Bovo for Cruz. Lynchburg now with numbers. And once again, these lead passes, these through balls just have not been on the mark. And that has been the one thing that has really extinguished a lot of these offensive possessions for the Hornets tonight. And you got to credit the Virginia Wesleyan defense just making life difficult for Lynchburg thus far. It's an offense that hasn't faced a whole lot of difficulties as of late.
Now they're pesky. They're buzzing in your ears. A little bit too much mustard on a lot of these through balls.
Take a shot downfield. Just off the mark. Ryan McAdams, the senior midfielder, couldn't bring it in. Velasquez plays it up for Viscuso. A little bit of a chip shot downfield, but nobody's home.
Thus far, we've seen some pretty similar play from both these squads tonight, but that's something that is nothing new for the Marlins. They've been able to do a really great job keeping their composure against tough opponents in at least the first half of a lot of the matches. They keep it close early on, and if they're able to grab some opportunities and hold the line, then that could be a recipe for success tonight.
Just an update for you. Andres Romero away from the training table, back on his own 2 feet. Jersey is off. He's got an ice pack wrapped around his midsection, right on the stomach. So not exactly sure what the diagnosis is, but we'll continue to keep you updated when we hear something. Long ball downfield. Top of the toes, Velasquez lays it up. Bovo with a hold. That's an easy whistle.
That was a dangerous interaction there between Wells and Cruz, as Cruz's cleat came just about eye level with Wells there. And I don't think the Marlins squad liked that too much, yelling on the sideline. Like I said, Joe, I mean, this is an intense match. I think we're going to see a lot of that tonight.
Ball rolls out of play. Lynchburg will throw it in from the far side of the field.
Once again, these clearances just doing absolutely nothing for either of these squads.
You really got to credit the 2 defenses. We talked about it in the open. While this is a Lynchburg team that has been one of, if not the best offenses in Division III this season, you've got 2 phenomenal defenses that have not given up more than a goal a contest.
You know you're in for a battle when you see that. I mean, when you play this aggressively, everyone gets a bit fatigued.
Lynchburg sideline up in arms. They wanted a whistle they did not get. Nevertheless, we continue to play on here at the midway mark in the opening 45. Ball trickles outside the box. Now Wills on the near side. He'll play it up. Popped up. Cruz with a swing and a whiff. Now a collision and another whistle on the Hornets. Drawn by Tyler Waddell, the senior midfielder out of Chesapeake, Virginia. This is a beautiful set-piece opportunity now for Virginia Wesleyan.
We'll see if they can capitalize here. Every set piece thus far, or really anything that they volleyed right in towards that goal, has been first approached by the Hornets. They've been the first one to get to the ball every time.
Looks like Lynchburg will go with a three-man wall. Pisa with the boot. Chip shot up top. Viscuso brings it in with one hand.
Well, in that time, Joe, it was the Marlins that got there first, but once again, two Hornet defenders on either side of him made sure that he wasn't able to get really any sort of power on that volley, and an easy play for Viscuso there.
Once again, you see the pressure being applied from this front line of Virginia Wesleyan. Not making life easy for Lynchburg. Give and go. Torres right back to Bovo. The two-man game gets it across midfield. Bovo, nice little touch out in front for Cruz, but sniffed out by the Marlins and shot downfield. Velasquez fighting for positioning, having his jersey tugged on, thrown to the ground, no whistle. Lynchburg sideline irate. Everybody adamant, tugging on their own jersey, asking where the whistle was.
We see Velasquez on that one. He let out a battle cry after that. I mean, that was a hard-fought fight for that ball right there, and Lynchburg able to get it even regardless of the no call.
That's exactly what we're in store for tonight. You can see the replay right there. This feels like playoff soccer. And these are two squads that have a great chance of coming away with a conference title this season. Lynchburg, Washington and Lee, Virginia Wesleyan, Hampton, Sydney, really the four primary contenders if the season were to end today. You've also got squads like Bridgewater and Randolph-Macon that have been causing a little bit of chaos and mayhem in the conference standings. And you saw another good stop right there from Viscuso. Randolph-Macon in particular, it's a team that defeated Virginia Wesleyan this past week on Wednesday 1-0. It's also a team that gave Lynchburg a great run for their money in a monsoon of a contest in Ashland, Virginia, where Randolph-Macon got the first goal of that contest, and Lynchburg didn't take their first lead until the 86th minute mark. Torres at midfield, inside for Viscuso, over for Wiley. Wiley surveys, plays it out for Rouse. Now Pask wants to go. Looking towards the end line. Rouse trying to keep it alive. A big collision. Marlin goes tumbling into the deck. Rouse trying to give him a hand to get him back onto his feet. He has no interest in accepting the hand from a red jersey.
I think that both these teams have accepted that at this point, Joe. We've got that kind of a matchup here.
Haynes with a helping hand. As we see a pair of substitutions waiting to come on. Yeager irate that he couldn't get his subs in. And now they'll let him. One official said no, the other said, of course, come on in. Saul Lopez Correas alongside Fisher Daniel will come into the contest. Lopez Correas scored his first career goal in Lynchburg's last match against Messiah. It was one of the most exciting goals we've seen all season. Put it in the top shelf. A great way to kick off your collegiate campaign in your freshman season.
It's all about that first one, Joe.
He'll never forget it. Yeah, exactly. He said that a few times this season. We've had guys really explode here at home, for their first collegiate scores. We had Andres Romero score his first collegiate goal in a game against Regent where he ultimately scored a hat trick. You also had Isaac Cruz. Look at the brilliant footwork from Bovo. Corkscrewing his way down low. Now he lets it fly wide left. And another goal kick for Haynes and the Marlins.
Well, that's another one, Joe. It's a decently long shot attempt there from
Yeah.
Bovo. And you don't blame him. When you're able to move through and weave through some defenders on that, you want to take that shot there yourself. And I wouldn't necessarily say, as we take a look, you maybe got something off to your right a bit, but I don't hate the attempt there from Bovo.
He's someone that can certainly drill it from distance. We've seen it throughout his collegiate tenure with the Hornets. Bovo, a dynamic and athletic forward for Lynchburg. Pask lifts it up. Haynes brings it in. He'll have everybody settle. Short pass out wide. And a long ball. Napier with a nice cutoff. I mean, when you've got your center back tabbing takeaways like that, it's going to be a good night defensively.
Especially in the formation that Lynchburg typically runs, you love to get that production from your center and from your mids, that is, if you can.
This is a Lynchburg squad that this season we've placed so much emphasis on what that back line and front line have done, and oftentimes you can maybe forget to give the middies as much love as they deserve, and Matthew Viscuso and Keaton Napier have been absolutely excellent all season long. Viscuso, one of the team's leading distributors. Keaton Napier, a guy that has scored a handful of goals so far this season, but both of them also bring a whole lot of defensive intensity. I mean, when we get late in contests and Velasquez or Casey get their name called ahead of the sideline, more times than not, you're going to see Viscuso be the key center in that back line. Ball downfield for Fisher Daniel. 1-on-3. Over for Lopez Correas. Had it stripped away. Takes it right back. Viscuso out wide for Pask. Charging down low. Pask with the left foot. Right into the bread basket for Haynes.
Yeah, Haynes on that one. Hardly had to move there, and it's a good job. You really only had one place to go there if you were Lynchburg, and you see it with Haynes. Doesn't have to move at all. So great job by that back line.
That ball exploded off the foot of Pask. Kind of a whole lot of heat behind it. Nevertheless, the gloves doing their job right there for Haynes. Haynes having a run side to side. Lopez Correas with a nice touch. Tracked down by two Marlins. And Lynchburg with a throw-in. Torres sends it back for Velasquez. Right back to him.
Yeah, Rouse really putting in work on that one. Came out of nowhere to make sure that stayed in Lynchburg's possession here. They reset.
Just about 13 minutes remaining here in the opening 45. No side has shown signs of dominant momentum quite yet. It's been a defensive battle, just 4 combined shots between the two sides. But the one for Virginia Wesleyan was the best look we've seen tonight.
Once again there, Velasquez, the first one to the header. How many times have we seen that tonight, Joe?
Whistle blows it dead. No, we've seen it a handful of times. And this is a very athletic Lynchburg backline that has a great mix of speed and strength. Got a guy like Reed Rouse who could do 225 like he's lifting at the combine. And then you've got Torres who's running a 4.4 like he's a wide receiver at the combine.
Well, and then you got Velasquez out here screaming to the heavens after winning a throw-in like that. I mean, that's who you want there on that back line. You got to be a little crazy.
Virginia Wesleyan has played an excellent opening half thus far. The defensive pressure is really what stands out. You're going to get to see it once again on this sequence. See that charge right there from Nolan Schlutz going right after Viscuso, forces the errant pass wide. Virginia Wesleyan takes possession right back in once again into the box, and Lynchburg takes over. Rouse down the far sideline for pass, a quick touch. Looking up for Saul Lopez Correas, goes out of play, and Lynchburg will gallop forward.
We saw it start off on this match. We saw Viscuso trying out that long ball a decent amount, but as of lately he's been a little bit more conservative, just feeding it to his team as opposed to the other side of the field. But now we'll see another opportunity there for Lynchburg. 2
substitutions coming on for the Hornets. Rodriguez comes in for Viscuso, and DiLorenzo checks in for Evan Pask in the front line. DiLorenzo, the guy that we talked about in the open, he was our player to watch. 5 goals in the last 3 games, a season total of 6. Torres working towards the center of the field. Lopez Correas with his back towards the cage, over for Napier. Reed Rouse, the entry pass, stolen away by Haynes.
Saw some good adjustments there on defense by the Marlins to squander any sort of opportunity there.
Virginia Wesleyan looking to go through the middle. We'll pop it up downfield for Napier. Torres keeps it alive. Off the chest of Lopez Correas. Lynchburg has numbers. They called it out of bounds. Wow.
And that's a tough break there for Lynchburg. I mean, you had 2 Hornets streaking down, a golden opportunity there. Maybe the best one that they've seen all night.
Ball settles at midfield. Right back to where we started this set piece, and Virginia Wesleyan will send it all the way back to their keeper. Lynchburg telling everybody to go apply some pressure and challenge. They take over. Rodriguez out for Rouse. Through a handful of Marlins. Now over on the far side of the field. That looked like Chris Bovo just lost the touch.
Yeah, couldn't quite keep it as he was. I think that time he was too busy looking downfield to air it out, but couldn't quite corral it himself. But, Joe, I think thus far we've seen Lynchburg be pretty successful at controlling, the middle of the field and being able to – obviously we've seen the Marlins have some great shots, but other than those two, it's really been the Hornets who have been controlling the pace of this game.
Each team came into this affair saying, we want to control the pace of play, and we want to play our brand of ball. But what's so fascinating, they play the same brand of ball. It's a lot of intensity. It's looking for transition looks as Wills now heads downfield. He takes a big shot, no whistle. Each team up in arms on that sequence for different reasons. Torres hit the deck first, then Wills inside the 18. Now Saul Lopez Correas headed the other direction. Lopez Correas hits the brakes, and now he'll slow things down.
Yeah, I think the reason, Joe, why we didn't see a call there on that opportunity for the Marlins was because Wills actually looked like the one to initiate that contact in the first place. Kind of launched himself backwards. Obviously, you're trying to give yourself some space in the open field, but
and the Virginia Wesleyan coaching staff still talking to the official in his ear.
He's saying, what do I got to do to get my guys a call?
Can you imagine if somebody was doing that while you were doing your job? It's not an easy job to have.
Well, I've got you in my ear this whole time.
I'm not telling you what to do. We see it both ways. Each coaching staff has been unhappy with the officiating. Just with the level of intensity tonight, there's bound to be some bang-bang plays such as that one. And once again, we're seeing more of it.
Yeah.
Lynchburg saying, where's the whistle? And then they get the whistle. Virginia Wesleyan saying, what was that whistle about?
That's just how it's going to be.
Nobody's
going to
be
game
happy.
like this.
Yeah.
And you know, unfortunately, with that, Joe, when you decide to play that brand of ball, the course of this game is going to come down to those whistles sometimes, and who gets a call in the right moment. All it takes in a matchup like this, especially one that looks to be as closely matched like this, is one call.
Lynchburg will have a set piece about 40 yards downfield. Bovo with a kick. Out for Rodriguez, lets it fire. Once again, it's wide left.
Just by a hair. I mean, that one bounced to the perfect spot for Lynchburg there. Obviously another bit of a longer shot, but not one that they're unfamiliar with at all.
Bruno Real Silva alongside Colby Wilson coming to the contest now for the Hornets. Just under 6 minutes remaining here in the opening half. Neither team able to pull away quite yet. This is one of those matchups, Noel, where you feel like if you get one, that might be all you need.
No, exactly. I mean, Joe, I think that was the best looking opportunity that the Hornets have had all night.
Lopez Correas for Di Lorenzo. Torres trying to find Real Silva. Those two can't connect.
And here's that pressure that we've seen from Lynchburg.
I mean, it's been on both sides.
And it's working.
And
it's
it has
working.
been relentless.
Just like that, got it right back.
Both of these back lines have just been absolutely suffocated tonight, just with no breathing room whatsoever. And all it takes is just for one sequence, somebody look like Houdini getting out of a straitjacket.
Oh, my goodness.
Turn the tide. Here's a good chance. Lopez Correas out and running. Crossed over for Wilson, went through his legs, 5-hole. A beautiful ball. Just Wilson thought it was going to be in a different spot.
Yeah, he points. I needed that one on my right foot, off to the right just a bit in the direction that he was going. He had to stop and readjust for it. Obviously, a great look here. We'll see it again.
Well, there's the collision, and it's what led to the offensive transition look. Yeah, just a tick behind it. And we talked about it earlier on in the half. The through balls and the lead passes are something that if Lynchburg can start connecting on them, they would have a whole handful of goals by now. And that's the one thing I can assure you when they head to the locker room, that's going to be a point of emphasis for Yeager and company. Napier for Rouse. Right back over for Casey. I'm just waiting for this Napier on Napier action.
I don't think you're the only one.
Here's Keaton. Played up for Colby. Lopez Correas gets control. Nice slide tackle as Di Lorenzo was trying to track it down. He got tangled up from the follow-through of the tackle from Mihango.
Yeah, he read that one like a book, able to stop anything they had going.
Off Di Lorenzo's head and out of play. We'll have two more substitutions coming for the Marlins. Anula alongside El Wasila. We've got some tricky names tonight, and I apologize in advance or after. I've fumbled a few. No pronunciation guide provided tonight. Nevertheless, we're doing our best.
We're doing our best, that's what counts. We have your best interest in mind.
See, I miss the good old days of YouTube when we were streaming and people could let us know in the comments. People were certainly not
That's a great
hesitant
point. No.
to let us know, which is always welcomed and appreciated. We want to get it right. Torres facing some pressure, some more physicality, and Viscuso launches it downfield.
You know, and that's what I like to see. Once again, Joe, we do see a no call there. All that you ask for is consistency on plays like that.
They're letting the kids play tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Under a minute 20 to go. Lopez Correas leads Real Silva. Hits the burners. Lynchburg's got numbers. Real Silva doing some dancing inside the 18. Here comes the cross. Just a little too much. Di Lorenzo tracks it down, puts it up for Torres. Torres crosses over. Heads to his right. Torres gets back on his feet. Ball gets punched out. Di Lorenzo now laid down for Napier. A beautiful cross. Colby Wilson can't squeak it through. Looked like that was a ricochet off the bottom of the boot. Nevertheless, Haynes right there to scoop it up. The vacuum of Haynes has been phenomenal thus far tonight.
And even for the Marlins, right there at the end, it was Nevins who was the last blue jersey to get in between the Hornets there. I don't even know if he made contact with that one. I think it went through his legs, and that time Haynes once again plays savior.
Another substitution late in the half. It's Hartwell. That'll check in as the clock expires. 0-0 will take us to the break. Both sides will head to the locker room as we've got the Forest Youth Athletic Academy taking the pitch, and they'll scrimmage at midfield during the intermission. Maybe we'll see some offense during the scrimmage from the youth squad.
I have a feeling we'll see a lot.
Nevertheless, we'll step aside. Second half coming up on FloSports. Hello and welcome back into the Hill City. Joe Brennan, Noel Ferry here as the Hornets play host to the Virginia Wesleyan Marlins. Through 45, it has been a defensive affair. Neither team able to pull away quite yet. The stage is set for what should be a thrilling second half of action. With that being said, let's take a look at the numbers through the first 45 minutes. Noel, it's really easy to highlight just what the defense has done this far, keeping both offenses extremely quiet.
Yeah, and honestly, Joe, it's been pretty even in terms of these two squads thus far today. I mean, you see the same amount of corners, the only real discrepancy has been in the fouls, and Joe, we talked about it. What a physical matchup this has been. That's why it's been such a defensive matchup, is because these guys are going out there and playing their hearts out.
4 shots thus far for the Hornets, 3 for Virginia Wesleyan. 2 have been on target for both squads. You mentioned the corners even at 1 apiece. And you've got Lynchburg with 9 fouls to Virginia Wesleyan's 5. The defensive, actually the overall intensity at any point in the field has been unbelievable. This has felt like a playoff game.
I agree, and I like what I'm seeing in terms of guys, maybe you take a few of those risks. You go for that shoulder check to try to get yourself that opportunity, because right now the officials are letting them play. If you can get away with it, you might get a great opportunity, Joe.
You could safely say that neither team's been too happy with the officiating this far. It seems like every call has had the sidelines up in arms, no matter what side it's been on. With that being said, should be a fun one here with 45 to go. Lynchburg has not been shut out all season long since their first game of the year. Meanwhile, this is a Virginia Wesleyan team that's been shut out in their last 2 games. Or pardon me, it was the second game of the year for Lynchburg when they dropped to Berry down in Maryville, Tennessee. Reed Rouse, low ball, kicked away. Marlins scoop it up. Now they'll try and push one downfield, laid out in front. But Velasquez, who we've highlighted a whole lot today, and a large part of why is he has shut them down. Zach Bittler, the man that we really focused on the offensive end for the Marlins, has been kept quiet when you've had Velasquez and Casey on him like white on rice. Pass hits the deck hard.
And they'll bring this one back.
Whistle blows it dead. Looks like they're maybe going to award a card, or rather this is just a mere warning.
Now, all we saw there was, a breakaway and what looked like was a lot of open space for the Hornets, but then over there on the far side of the field, we saw, I'm trying to see the number out there to see who dropped down after a collision.
Nevertheless, I mean, we've seen a whole lot of bodies hit the floor.
That was DiLorenzo.
Physical contact, pushing and shoving, trying to fight for positioning, and Cruz awarded the foul.
We mentioned earlier on, Joe, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a perfect characterization for them, a second half team, but Lynchburg definitely, at least on offense, has seen a jump in production when it comes to the second half of matchups throughout the season. And if you're, Coach Yeager, that's what you hope to see here.
Ball played downfield towards the box. Two Hornets swarm the Marlins, tangled up, and Mejia.
We've got a yellow card here.
How about that? First card we've seen given out tonight. It'll go against the Marlins.
And that one almost kind of came out of nowhere. That one might have been off the ball action.
You start to wonder if that's going to maybe try and cool down the intensity we've seen. Cruz lines and fires off the left boot. Wide left once again. It feels like Lynchburg has missed wide left every time they've missed.
That's true, Joe. And a few of them have missed less than maybe a soccer ball's length off to the left. And that's another thing about, efficiency tonight. A shot like that from that distance, you maybe think that if you can look for that extra pass, but regardless, I think that both of these squads are just willing to try anything at this point.
They've got a Virginia Wesleyan team that is hungry for a win, to say the least. They've had an excellent start to the season, but back-to-back losses have put them in a much different spot than they found themselves a week ago. 7-1-1 and 2-0 loss at the hands of Washington and Leah's squad that is really starting to find their rhythm. And as we've talked so much about that upper echelon, if you will, of ODAC soccer with Virginia Wesleyan and Hampton-Sydney and Washington and Lee alongside Lynchburg, most of those squads have already played each other outside of playing Lynchburg. The Hornets have the Marlins tonight, then they play Hampton-Sydney in their next contest on the road, and your penultimate game of the season against the Washington and Lee Generals. And while Lynchburg has played a very difficult schedule, it's not going to get much easier when you've got difficult conference foes in ODAC that could very well represent 4 squads come tournament time.
What a job there by Carlos Andres Romero to just go in and rip that ball away from the Marlins. But here we go.
A good chance. Casey with a nice tackle. The cross knocked away. Miscommunication between Viscuso and Andres Romero allow the Marlins to track it down once again. Tangled up on the inside. Mija gets it out. Lifted up. Far side post. Still in play, and Viscuso corrals the loose ball.
Rouse absolutely huge for the Hornets on that one. Came sliding in. Was one of the first ones there to make some contact.
And as we go back to talking about, the 4 teams really competing right now for an ODAC championship, the non-conference schedule is also something that we've really had to take a look at now as we're just starting to get involved in that ODAC play. But all 4 of those really beefed up their non-conference schedule this year. Squads like Mary Washington, Messiah, Franklin and Marshall, Salisbury, CNU. The list goes on and on. Dickinson, another big one. And all these squads are really just trying to not only just prepare themselves down the road for what's to come with that difficult conference play, but also you want to build up that strength of schedule just in the NPI world that we live in now, where you want a chance to claim an at-large bid if you don't come away with a conference title.
No, and you mentioned it, Joe, that CNU game, how huge that is for this Marlins squad. I mean, one of the main reasons they were ranked just 2 polls ago.
That was the first time head coach Cohen got the opportunity to play CNU in his brief tenure thus far with the Marlins in his 3rd season. He's a guy that's really given him a whole lot of success, even though it might not show in tournament wins. Nevertheless, last year this is a team that won 13 games and fell just a tad short of that at-large bid after falling to Washington and Lee in the semifinal. And they were, the 3rd or 4th team just on the outside looking in. And I think the scheduling this season, that's a big factor where you want to avoid that kind of outcome where you've got the wins, you've got the accolades, but you just are a smidge behind a squad that has, a more difficult non-conference slate, or comes from a conference with 8 or 9 teams that are represented in the tournament like the NESCAC.
That's something, Coach Kohler, a guy who's been a part of this Marlins squad for a few years now and has largely contributed to that winning culture. And I think now, still, even after these recent losses, I think that's what's ingrained to these players as well, especially come crunch time. Like you said, Joe, it feels like we're watching playoff soccer, and that's what you want to see at this point in the season.
Lynchburg will throw it back and build from behind. As you take a look, that's not Kohler, but that is a member of this coaching staff. Ball played back. Viscuso pops it up. Andres Romero dicing his way through traffic at midfield, gives it up to Wills.
It's good to see Romero back out there for the Hornets.
That's a good point. Andres Romero departed about midway through the first frame. Now back into the contest. There we go. Now we got the head coach, Shane Kohler, in his third season with the Marlins. A guy that has experienced a whole lot of success during his time. And once you get into that third year, you really start to see the culture that you can build as a head coach at the helm, run your own program. You bring in the guys that fit that mold. And this is a squad with a great culture off the field and great play on the field.
It comes away from that 2024 season, with those 9 players earning all conference honors that led the ODAC.
Yeah, and he told us pregame, he said, we want guys who love the process, not just the result. And that really shows with a squad like such as this one. As an offsides call, the first one of the night, gives it back to the Hornets.
I think that kind of goes to show the tempo and pace of this game thus far, Joe, that we're just getting that first offsides call there. There haven't even really been that many opportunities for that.
There really haven't. Casey over for Viscuso. Sky-high ball towards the student section. This one will head towards the dorms.
That one's way out of here. We talk about those through balls and stuff like that having too much power.
Obviously not a whole lot of people in attendance tonight on the far side of the track with it being fall break, but seems as though the field hockey team came out to support, who picked up a big-time win over number 15 Shenandoah 2-1 on the road this morning. That's great. Oh, my goodness. Chris Wiley just got bulldozed into the deck by Wills.
Wills has definitely been one of those guys tonight. I mean, we saw it earlier with the contact over on the far right side of the field, and that time Wills is really frustrated with that one as well.
And to remind you, he is a dual sport athlete, but no, not football. As good as that tackle was, yeah. He's got Ed Reed kind of form.
That's a really good way to put. I mean, when he was charging down the field earlier on, and he went for that shoulder check. Goodness gracious!
Here comes the boom. .33.5 to go. Neither squad able to break the score column quite yet. I just feel like one of these squads is due for one to fall through.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Something's got to give at some point. And yeah, like we said, Joe, especially once the competition starts to get tougher, that's when we see those 1-0, 2-0 victories for Lynchburg. But the Marlins, I mean, for them to have stayed in it this long against this squad, really anything is possible here. It's more pushing and shoving.
Well, I can assure you this Marlins team didn't come in looking to stay alive for as long as they can. They came in looking to dominate.
Yes.
And trying to get back on track. I mean, when you start the season as well as they did, and just to kind of reiterate their first game of the year, they tied with Dickinson. That's a squad that made it to the Elite Eight last season and brought back a lot of talent. It's the squad that sent Lynchburg home in the round of 32 on Schellenberger Field. And then you play Hampton-Sydney, Rutgers-Camden, Mary Washington, Christopher Newport. They really, really, really beefed up the beginning of their season. And what was so interesting is that Hampton-Sydney game was a non-conference matchup. With them being in close proximity and of high pedigree, as Cruz drives inside, lets one go, and a diving save from Haynes. Just the third shot on goal from the Hornets tonight. All three have been stopped by the brick wall of Haynes. Neither side trying to give an inch. Long one downfield for Wiley. Andres Romero off the ricochet, back over for Rouse. Marlins now with a good chance. He'll slow the tempo. Napier comes streaking in, a brilliant takeaway. And the Marlins return the favor.
It came in almost out of nowhere on that one. Aaron Deans does a good job to just stop the Hornets in their place, and that's all that we've seen tonight. I mean, any sort of open field, any sort of light at the end of the tunnel has just been squandered.
Couple of substitutions for Lynchburg. Fisher Daniel and Saul Lopez Correas enter the contest. Lopez Correas out of play. With that, let's take a look at what's going around the conference tonight. Averett and Bridgewater tie at 2 apiece. Randolph EMU at a 2-1 slate. Hampton-Sydney Shenandoah at 1-1. And Washington and Lee, they're figuring out as this season moves along, 1-0 in their matchup.
Couple of ricochets going the way of the Hornets here. Hard-fought battle there at midfield. And some more contact.
You know, that as we go back to talking about around the conference, that tie with Shenandoah and Hampton-Sydney, oh my goodness. Evan Paz just went flying, then went 5-hole over to Lopez Correas. He drives towards the middle, over for Napier. Shenandoah is a squad that can be mighty sneaky this year, kind of under the radar right now. That's someone that can certainly play upset. And, you know, as strong as Lynchburg has started this season, you know it doesn't mean anything. And that's how much his staff has to preach it. And a handful of these guys are well aware of that, because back in 2022, this is a team that started off with an excellent beginning of the year as Pass goes flying. They didn't lose their first game until their second to last game of the year to Bridgewater, and then ultimately fell in the first round in the ODAC quarterfinal to Hampton-Sydney. That was a game where they outshot them 25-7, and sometimes that's all it takes.
It can be so simple, especially even a matchup like this. And you grab that, and you start to lose momentum, and you go to that conference tournament, and then all of a sudden, you know, that postseason, those postseason dreams can flutter away very quickly.
There's been 2 times in the last 15 years where Lynchburg has started this strong through their first 11 games without suffering a loss, as Velasquez goes down hard but pops right back up. And in both of those instances, the Hornets didn't make it past the ODAC semifinal. And this is a squad where all focus is on claiming an ODAC title, along with trying to do a good push in postseason play. They got 1 win last year in the round of 64 after hosting here at home against the Emory Eagles. There was a second game where they just couldn't find the back of the cage. This squad has come back with vengeance, to say the least. Roaring hot to start the opening 11 games. Lopez Correas with a touch. Viscuso to the far side of the field for Velasquez. And last touchdown to play by Wills.
Yeah, there's another collision right there.
It's been all night. Started early and often and has not slowed down. As you take a look at head coach Chris Yeager in his 24th season with the Hornets, a long-standing history of success with Lynchburg, the second most winningest coach in program history, and on his way to potentially being first overall. Reed Rouse. All still up in the air. Lopez Correas with a header to push it inside the 18. Will Casey redirects. Keaton Napier streaking in. A whistle blows it dead, and it'll go against the Hornets.
Yeah, that time I think Napier, his eyes got a little too big for his own good. Really trying to play the ball on that one, but you're not going to get away with that.
Certainly a whole lot of intensity on that sequence.
And here's that pressure that we've seen.
Redirected off ahead. Fisher Daniel with a good chance out in open space. Fisher Daniel at the last second, it's kicked away. What a stop! The defensive effort made by Aaron Deans at the last moment.
I mean, that one couldn't have been closer.
That might be the play of the game. Oh, my goodness.
You see how involved Haynes has gotten all night if you're this Marlins defense, and you do a great job covering for him back there.
And Daniel was in disbelief. Long throw in, center of the box, finds its way out. Lopez Correas still batted around. Lynchburg wanted a corner, they didn't get it. Haynes brings it in. I mean, what a sequence that was, Noel. He started with the defensive pressure. It was a nice header that had poked it out in front for Daniel. And it's one of those things where you do everything right. It's great offense, just better defense.
Yeah, it's guys really taking the extra step there. I mean, Deans, you could be up there in the scrimmage, or in the scuffle, trying to get possession of the ball like that, but he held back. He was in the right place at the right time, and it wasn't necessarily a ball after that had that much on it. It was just enough to get it through, but he was there, and he made the play. Yeah, like you said, Joe, I mean, on a game like this, that's in contention for the play of the game.
Lynchburg wants the ball deep. They're looking for Daniel. Kept in play by Pask. Once again, a Hornet and a Marlin get tangled up. Waddell earns the whistle. Waddell, a guy that is a very important factor in this team. Once again, another whistle.
Yeah, I believe that one That time came in off the hand.
I'll take another look at that pass foul. That really kick-started everything. Approaching the midway point here in the second half. Substitutions for both sides awaiting to check in.
And I didn't think it was possible, Joe, but I think that we've seen even more of an offensive stalemate here in the second half.
Lynchburg has had some of the best chances we've seen. Washington and Lee had a really good look at it in the opening half. It was their best shot of the night. Nevertheless, nothing's gone through. Downfield for Daniel. A nice touch. Back and forth we go. Napier called for the whistle, and Lynchburg is irate.
Yeah, he's got to watch it there.
I don't know if you can hear, but the crowd not too happy with it.
And the yellow card assessed there. Napier, I mean, obviously emotions are flying high in this game, and he just couldn't believe that call.
It'll be a corner kick now for the Marlins. Substitutions will check in. For Virginia Wesleyan, it's Cowan Napier, Nolan Schultz, and Tyler Hyatt. For Lynchburg, it's Real Silva and Di Lorenzo. Paskin Cruz head to the sideline for the Hornets. Waddell, Biddle, and McAdams head to the sideline. Shot up top, off the top pipe, did not go through. The goalkeeper's best friend keeps this at a stalemate. Now Lynchburg will not try and counter. Into the box and gathered by Viscuso. We're going to have to take another look at that one.
The Marlins were throwing their arms up. They said that one crossed.
That's as close as it gets. Straight down and outside.
That might have been a double doink.
It looks to be the right call from the camera angle that we've got.
I agree. I don't think it, as it bounced back on the ground, I think it was well in front of the line.
Because you see just by the way that it bounced out,
yes.
If that ball bounces down and in, you know that it's behind that goal line. I mean, you couldn't play a ball any closer.
No, it was a phenomenal shot as well.
Now here come the Hornets the other direction. Little too much for Fisher Daniel to track down. Casey gets ahead on it. Keaton Napier out in front for Lopez Correas, and he's out and running. For Real Silva, inside the box. Real Silva looking for the cross. Ball batted around, still alive. It'll be last touched by the Marlins in a throw-in deep in Virginia Wesleyan territory for Reed Rouse and Lynchburg. Just about 18 and a half to go.
Once again, physical defense comes up big there. I mean, the Hornets had two perfect opportunities there. They couldn't even get a shot off.
Rouse looking for Casey. Off the forehead and out of bounds. Now Colby Wilson will come in for Lynchburg alongside Rodriguez. They will check out Fisher Daniel and Evan Pask. Or pardon me, no, Keaton Napier. I mean, what a game we have had, Noel, and so many offensive shootouts that we've seen from the Hornets this season. This has been nothing shy of a defensive battle.
No, and frankly, I mean, we've seen 2 times it has come as close as it possibly could for both of these squads. Gotten some big breaks, and now we're going to need to see some late-game heroics.
Matthew Viscuso sticks his foot in the ground and turns upfield. Finds its way to Rodriguez. Out in front for DiLorenzo, and a little too much sauce on that pass. Trickles out of play, and the Marlins take over in their own end of the field. A substitution now comes on for Virginia Wesleyan. Mejia comes to the sideline, and El Wasila takes his spot at the midfield. Torres with a touch that ricochets off Wills, out of play. Lynchburg throw in.
Yeah, Wills tried to sell that one there.
Give him an Oscar. That was a good performance. Tried to go quick. Lynchburg with a turnover. Virginia Wesleyan looking to go. Poked away by Rouse. So tough to get behind this Lynchburg back line. Two of the best defenses in the conference going at it tonight.
Well, that time it was very clean. Just a quick little pickpocket there from the Hornets.
Torres. Nice header. Rodriguez with the follow. Beautiful ball for Real Silva. Quick touch over for Colby Wilson. Has it ripped away. Nice defensive stand from Josh Nevens. Once again, back and forth we go. Rodriguez with a shot downfield for Wilson. Off the back of his heel, Lopez Correa is charging in, ricocheted up, and corralled by Haynes. It does feel right now like Lynchburg has a sliver of momentum on the offensive end. Here come the Hornets. Lopez Correa shielded away, lifted up, and thrown to the deck. No whistle.
Yeah, this Lynchburg sideline, they're wondering what needs to happen for them to get a call. But regardless, you know, this has been a pretty consistently called game.
You can see it right there. Here's a chance. DiLorenzo inside the 18. Ball lifted up, out of play, and a corner kick now for the Hornets. Under 15 minutes to go.
And now you're reaching the point of the match where you wonder how many more of these are going to be presented to you. And so you've got to take advantage of this.
They've had 2 corner kicks so far. It'll be Rodriguez with the boot. Far side post. Casey with a header. Once again, Real Silva! Brilliance from Bruno, and Lynchburg takes the lead.
I mean, talk about recovery there, Joe, from that. It was a very long corner kick. You couldn't have placed that header to get it in for the second header any better.
You take another look at it. Just enough. Down low, off the noggin, and it squeaks through.
William Casey, I mean, came bouncing off of the Marlins and placed it right back into the action where it needed to be. And that's what we've seen from Lynchburg all night. They have been the first ones to the ball on those jump situations. They've gotten their heads on it, and that time it comes up big. Off 2 headers there, Joe.
What a play from the freshman. Sticking with it and watching it all the way through. That is his first collegiate goal. He's already tabbed 3 dimes this season. That time the Buenos Aires Argentinian with his first one of the season. And it comes at a crucial point in this conference showdown.
Well, that's got to feel great for Coach Yeager, knowing that, your squad has really been able to pile on those corners all season long, but to finally be able to convert off of one of them.
Especially in the moment.
Yes.
Napier being harassed by his brother's teammates. Viscuso says, let's simmer down and slow it.
And how quickly the complexion of a game can change like that now, Joe. I mean, now if you're the Marlins, you really have to apply pressure, put your foot on the gas.
We've been saying all night long, it feels like one of those affairs where one might be all it takes to walk away with a victory. But Virginia Wesleyan certainly not going to go away easy. Torres sent it over the doors. I mean, that one has left the yard deep towards left field into the second deck.
Well, you see in matches for fun and stuff like that, the longer you kick it out, the more time you're wasting. But this time they're ready with the second ball.
Got to tip your cap towards the field crew. Here's a chance. The header from McAdams, offline. Take another look. I mean, oh my goodness. Lynchburg will certainly take their time. That clock, their best friend at this stage of the ball game. Deep towards center field. Colby Wilson with a nice touch. Ricochets away. Reed Rouse. Go Casey up high for Colby Wilson. Casey with the headers, just continually putting it on the other side of the field. Andres Romero with some speed. Looking for the edge. Gets tangled up. Was looking for a whistle.
And who's that one going to be off of?
It'll be a Lynchburg corner.
Yeah.
Take another look at it. It seemed like a good no whistle. I like the no call there. Just beat him to the spot.
Yeah, I think that's the right move there from Romero as well to kind of hold off. You know that last touch was off the Marlins, so you give your team another opportunity here.
It'll be Rodriguez once again from the near side corner. Line drive. Just over the top bar. Keaton Napier streaking towards the near side pipe.
Like you said, Joe, I mean, at that point when Lynchburg was finally able to break through, it felt like the momentum was there. And at this point now, here we go.
Colby Wilson cutting to his right, gets tangled up. He gets back up looking for a call. It's not going to be there.
It's been that kind of a game.
Long one downfield, Wilson on an island. Some more contact after the play. This one goes against the Hornets. I can't assume there'll be too many complaints coming from the Lynchburg this time around after that diffuses the offensive situation for the Marlins and continues to keep that clock rolling.
Yeah, now less than 9 minutes to go.
Colby Wilson has done an excellent job applying pressure. Evan Pasks now cuts in. Controlled by Waddell. Played back to his keeper and gets it right back. A Marlins still down. And now they'll stop play. And it seems like he's all right. A little gingerly. You take another look at a sequence which Colby Wilson thought he deserved a call.
Yeah, they certainly stayed tangled up past the play on that one.
Nevis was the man that was on the deck for some time, but the junior out of Virginia Beach gets back to his feet as we return to play. Velasquez. More physical contact. Inside the box, cleared out. Long ball over the back net. And Wills is gingerly treating that left foot. 3 substitutions in for Lynchburg. It's Viscuso, Di Lorenzo, and Daniel. Wilson, Andres Romero, and Rodriguez head to the sideline. Just under 8.5 remaining. Lynchburg looking for their 7th shutout through 12 games. Out of bounds off the head of Wills. Chris Wiley awaiting to check in. Clock will stop momentarily as he enters the affair in place of Lopez Correas. Lynchburg turning to their veterans here late.
Yeah, Marlins were potentially looking for a handball on that one. But what a team effort this has been tonight, Joe, especially. Anytime you see a defensive stalemate like this one, it takes a team.
That's been the mantra all season long for the Hornets. You can start to see their defense playing a little bit further back now. They don't want to get caught with a counter. They'll move everybody up for this throw in from Velasquez. 3 bodies will stay back outside the box. Velasquez inside. Kicked away and controlled by Torres. He'll put it right back into the mix. Velasquez at the far corner. The entry feed inside for Wiley. Kicked up and away. Viscuso keeps it alive. Lynchburg maintains possession with 7 minutes to go. Evan Pask working towards the end line, trying to get the angle. And a goal kick awarded to the Marlins.
You have to think, Joe, just a few more opportunities here for the Marlins down the stretch.
They flipped the field, but Lynchburg with possession. Lynchburg wanted a whistle they did not get once again. Viscuso deposits it downfield. Crossed over for Ziza. Nice tackle from Pask. Played back for Deans. Pisa in the corner. The cross. Viscuso with ease. A routine grab for the veteran keeper. 5.5 to go. Lynchburg clinging on to a 1-goal advantage that came from Bruno Real Silva. Oft an assist from Will Casey and Rodriguez. Will swarmed by a pair of Hornets. Pushed downfield. Torres with a contest. Hurdling over a man. Redirecting for Pisa. Stopped by Rouse. Right back outside. Will Casey sends it up in the air. Fisher Daniel with the jump. Tackled down hard. That should have been the easiest call of the night. I mean, he was ripped down hard.
Yeah, we saw the arm over the shoulder there. And now we got 2 players down. We'll take a look.
It was that arm that wrapped around the chest of Daniel and brought him down hard. Both guys still on the deck. Fans unhappy with the officiating. Now Torres is down. Seems like he might be cramping a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, Joe, I mean, that one, we've seen a lot of physicality tonight, but that one seemed a little bit different.
Well, it seems like Torres is most likely done for the night. The freshman Vasquez will take his spot, who's had an excellent 11 games, or matches rather, to start the season. They'll put him on the near side and Rouse on the far side of the field. Those two will flip-flop. Rouse tosses a water bottle over to the field hockey team. Did not get off the field. The official will grab it. Viscuso played over for Pask. Lynchburg off a pair of heads. Hornets with possession. That clock continues to roll. Pask over for Napier. Looking in the corner for DiLorenzo. It'll roll out of play. And that clock continues to tick, 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 tick.
We'll see what the Marlins can put together here. Got a good look the last time they came down. But it really was Rouse who did a lot of that work by himself for the Hornets.
Fisher Daniel out in front. Taken away. Sticks with the play and earns possession deep in Virginia Wesleyan territory.
Never gave up on that play.
It seems like a yellow card is going to be awarded to the head coach. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen some jawing go out to these officials all night long. That one kind of came out of nowhere.
Kohler awarded the card. Second one we've had tonight. Third one, rather. Second one on Virginia Wesleyan. Yeager unhappy that they're stopping the clock to give out a card that he didn't believe was warranted. Quick entry feed. Wiley trying to kill some clock. Still in play. Finds its way to Napier with a big-time strike. This time it's wide right. Now the Marlins will quickly try and string something together. 2:45 left to be played. Napier, no hesitation. Fisher Daniel called for the foul. They'll look to send this one into the box. Deans. Tracked down by Nevens. The physicality has not slowed down an ounce.
No, and you'd have to think that they're starting to feel the effects of it now. We saw some guys down with what appeared to be some cramps earlier on, but here's another good opportunity, sending it in.
Lynchburg ball.
Yeah, late one there, and that's what all the Hornets on the field were calling for.
Once again, it was Wills to charge the sideline, look for the throw-in. Under 90 seconds to go. Quick turnover. Wills just took about 10 free yards, got sent back the other direction. Clock will stop, and a yellow card is given out to Fisher Daniel. And a really good opportunity now for the Marlins. Prime positioning for this set piece with 62 seconds remaining.
This might be the last chance you get here if you're the Marlins with just a minute left to go.
At some point, you think about bringing the keeper down. Daniel irate with that call. Here's the kick. Up top, Casey with a head on it. Ball trickles outside. Lifted up once again inside. And a beautiful punch away from Viscuso. Ice in his veins. Clock continues to roll. 45 seconds and counting. Ziza will take the corner for the Marlins. They bring everybody into the box. It's the last chance here for Virginia Wesleyan. Ziza, a low ball. Wiley sent downfield. It's a race for the Pearl. Kicked out of play. Lynchburg ball. And that will bring this contest to a close. They stop the clock, then Casey sends it over for Wills. They've still got a chance. And Casey now wraps things up. Lynchburg stays unbeaten through a dozen games. The Hornets 10-0-2, unbeaten in conference play, and their winning streak continues. The Hornets with 9 consecutive victories.
You talk about piling it on, Joe. This was a game where golden opportunities were few and far between. Hard to come by, that is. But finally, almost 3/4 of the way through this match, Lynchburg just had a string of them together, and they got it done.
This was a playoff environment. It had the intensity. It had the physicality. It had the defensive play. Brilliant saves on both ends. Virginia Wesleyan had a handful of good opportunities. Lynchburg capitalizes on a corner that goes not off one, but 2 noggins, and Bruno Real Silva walks out of it as the hero with his first collegiate goal, and it's a game winner. And I don't know if he's the hero or if it's Viscuso, but it's got to be a mix of both.
Oh, yeah, Joe. I mean, even take a look at that last final save there by Viscuso. I mean, going up with one hand looking like Odell Beckham Jr. and punching it away.
Well, that will wrap things up here from the Hill City. The Hornets back in action on Wednesday as they take on Hampton-Sydney on the road. For Virginia Wesleyan, they now have a 2-game home stint on deck, first with EMU at home on Wednesday. That'll bring it to a close. The Marlins drop to 7-4-1 on the season with 3 consecutive losses, while Lynchburg continues to roll. We thank you so much for spending your Saturday night with us. From the University of Lynchburg, I've been Joe Brennan, joined by my long friend and longtime partner, Noel Ferry. And until next time, so long and have a good one.